an hour-long conversation about a 91-minute movie.
Yep.
It's impressive, man. Not everybody can do that. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. This is improbably episode number 95. On this show, we like to talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, politics, sometimes, but always Star Trek. That one might be hard today. Anyway, I'm your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
Hello, Midget Radio. How are you doing today?
I still nailed the timing on that. Like I was gonna say it. You know, I was like, don't say it after Midget Radio. You have to wait for the post amble. I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy that I remembered to do that.
Man, I mean that's just professionalism. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, if Jordan picks up a ball right now, he understands like how to bounce the sphere and then how to toss it at the goal.
It's riding a bike.
Yeah.
Shit comes natural.
Well, that's great, man. It's been a couple of weeks since our last video, so this is fun. As per normal, I am drinking. You are drinking. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a new thing. The Boulevard, the Sixth Glass Quadruple Ale from Boulevard Brewing Company.
Is that Missouri?
It is, yeah, Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
10.2% alcohol by volume. It's good stuff.
Get her done.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's efficient and tasty. So
awesome. I am drinking Dortmunder Gold Lager for no particular reason other than it's my favorite beer, and it may come up later.
Yes.
May come up later because today we are talking about Sisu. We both saw this, I think, the week it came out, and so the last month and a half we've been not recording, right?
That's true. We have not been doing that.
All right, so let's see if I remember how to do a summary. Set in the remote land of Lapland, in Finland, one grizzled old man with at least a 9 out of 10, maybe a 10 out of 10 beard. So there's this guy with a beard. He's taken to the hinterlands of Finland to get away from the war and to get away from the world in a way. It's a quiet place with expansive shots, peaceful, and one can't help but empathize with him. He looks like he's seen a lot and lived the kind of life where you deserve to live as you might enjoy, but with just the unbreaking adoration and companionship that comes from a horse and a dog. And that is the story of Sisu. Have I left something out?
I don't think so. I think that's the whole movie. Nice work.
Wait, no, at one point he has to go to a bank.
He does have to get to the bank, yeah.
And I guess there are some Germans in it for part of the movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Some friends he meets along the way. Yeah.
I think at the end of chapter 1, which thankfully the movie is divided into chapters, so
yes,
that at no point you don't think you're not reading a book. But there, at the end of, I think, chapter 1, I had originally wrote Dragon Ball Z to the end.
Yeah.
Our main character runs into, I guess his name is Atami in the movie.
Names.
Runs into some Germans, and they try to take some gold that he found, which, physics be damned, that would be really, really heavy.
Yeah.
You know how much, like, a gold bar weighs?
I mean, you know, he seems to be struggling a little bit. Labored steps and all, here and there.
I think like a gold bar, like Fort Knox style, is like 80 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
Or it might be more than that. I'm not 100% sure. So we're professional. I'm not going to look up how much a gold bar costs. How much it weighs. How much it costs in weight.
Nice. Okay.
I'm not going to look it up.
Don't do it.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I was looking at that and I was like, that doesn't seem very realistic.
80 pounds sounds like a lot, but fuck if I know.
I mean, like, it's a metal. It's super, super dense. I think that's
soft,
low.
isn't it?
Oh my God.
I just looked it up.
I'm not going to look it up.
And you're way
I'm
off.
not going to look it up.
So it's better. It's 80 pounds. It's 80 pounds.
It's 80 pounds.
Yeah.
A 400 ounce bar weighs 27 pounds. Well, how big is? We're Americans. We don't do ounces. Well, I mean, we do.
We do.
Only if we're drinking. So that.
Oh fuck.
Oh, who cares? So gold's still heavy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So he's carrying somewhere between, we'll say, 50 and 150 pounds of gold.
Yeah,
and
sure.
He's on his horse, and he passes the first bit of Germans, and then the whole thing starts. We're going to get to the spoiler section. First, we have to talk about Midget Radio. What's your overview of this film?
I was dreading this part because it's a pretty fucking straightforward movie. So yeah, I mean, I like how I love how streamlined it is. The plot is extraordinarily simplistic. I don't know. We could talk about like how it fits alongside action movies and our sort of list of rules for action films here.
Okay.
In the sense that sorry, go ahead.
I think my short answer would be I can't see how it breaks any of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at too. And so I would say it follows in the line of like, Dread, as far as like there is a very clear, very singular goal that our protagonist here is trying to accomplish, and does not remotely deviate from. And that does, that's a huge benefit. I like the setting of this movie as well too. Because it feels like it's almost it almost feels like kind of post-apocalyptic a little bit, in a sort of historical way. Because it feels like it's like a war is occurring, but it doesn't feel like they're in the middle of a war, right? It's kind of like in this stretch of land that's like caught in between. Because I don't know much about Finnish participation in World War II, but obviously the Nazis are leaving, and I think that's more or less at the behest of the Soviets. But at this time, but the Nazis are leaving, and parts of the country are very much on fire. But you're not seeing like he's not walking through like the middle of a battle or anything like that. It's kind of like a movie that takes place on sort of almost the outskirts of a war, which makes it interesting, I think.
I do have to say, I really love that shot where he's just sitting there and, you have the bombers that are flying overhead and he's just totally done with it.
Just whatever. I'm on my farm, man. Digging this hole.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so, Finnish involvement in the war is pretty interesting because Finland was initially invaded by the Soviet Union prior to their involvement in World War II. And, I mean, in a technical or, in a way that you would really enjoy, a semantic way, Finland was never part of World War II.
Okay.
Finland fought first the Winter War, and then when Germany... So the Winter War basically starts with the Soviet Union says to Finland, how about you give us a bunch of your territory? And Finland's like, pass? So at this point, the Soviet Union invades Finland. Finland fights a really wild defense, and actually, the figure that they kind of reference in this particular film is there was legitimately a Finnish guy who had hundreds of kills.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And yeah, he was. They called him. I don't remember what they called him. It was something significantly less heroic than in this film. But anyway, Finland fights this heroic defense. I mean, it's a Pyrrhic victory, really, for the Soviet Union. One of the Soviet generals was said to have recounted, "We have gained just about enough land to bury our dead."
Nice.
Because they gained a little bit of, I think it's actually called like Karelia, like the Star Wars place, but spelled differently.
Oh, nice.
And a little bit of border territory at the very north of Finland, and otherwise the only things to come out of this are that the Finnish fought them tooth and nail, but they were pretty pissed off like a year or two later when, Russia's still occupying these lands, and they still occupy them to this day. But when Germany goes to war with the Soviet Union, Finland goes back to war with the Soviet Union as well, because they're like, you guys got bigger problems. Maybe we can get our land back.
Makes sense, right? Yeah.
So, and like, there's a lot of history here. So really, they end up kind of becoming. They're not really allies, but they work with the Russians because they are with Germany because they basically want to get back what they've lost, and that suits Germany just fine. And Russia actually ends up obviously being on the winning team eventually in World War II, and actually takes more land away from Finland after World War II. But anyway, so this is set just after the end of World War II, when basically, I guess, the Soviet Union saying, well, now we've got all these tanks, and we've got nothing to do with them better than drive them back into your country, so you better get rid of the Germans, or else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the period of history that we're in. And it is, and yeah, they're basically in Nowhereville, Finland, the northern part of Finland, where they're not next to the water, really, and there's not a whole lot there, as this perfectly
clearly
shows you. I actually really, really like the first part of this movie a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where it is historically, and it is exactly what you said. It's a very simple plot. It's just guy finds some gold, guy wants to go to bank.
Yeah.
Germans get in the way.
Oops.
The dog survives.
Thank God.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this would have just been John Wick in World War II Finland.
I mean, it was.
And we all would have understood.
Sure.
But at the same time, the guy just wants to go to the bank. Just let him go to the bank.
Right? How hard is that?
What other things do you think you want to talk about?
God, non-spoilery things.
Non-spoilery things.
That's hard to do.
I mean, there's not a lot to this.
There's really not. There's really not. The cinematography was nice. All
right.
Yeah.
So Midget Radio, then, what is your 1 to 5? I guess technically we allow scores lower than 1 historically. 1 to 5, old school, by this point, really, really old school. Netflix rating.
To the degree that this makes sense, I feel like this movie is technically a 3.5 star film, but I am going to give it 4 stars, based on, like, context.
So, like, the weird thing is, I like this film. I don't even know that it's right to call it a film. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is not a film. We did not show it at Cannes. No one stood up and clapped. So brave.
20 minutes.
So bold. But like, I think 3.5 is fair. We're gonna. This is the one other question that I have that's kind of not spoilery, but it plays into my rating. I don't really like Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Do you think that the people who made this,
Yes.
like,
yeah, the
like on a
influence
scale
is pretty
of
clear.
1 to 10,
The influence is pretty clear.
but like, I liked it. I feel like the guy who's playing our main character, who for the most part doesn't say anything. I think he's a guy named Yorma Tomila.
Sure.
I think Tom. I don't know. He looks great. He looks tough. He looks like old and grizzled, but he still looks potent.
Oh
right?
yeah, hell yeah.
So like I totally bought him in the movie. I thought he delivered all of his lines really well.
Yes. Yes.
But the movie gets progressively more insane the longer it goes.
Yeah.
And in a way I kind of like it, but in a way it really annoys me.
Okay.
I just wish it was a little bit more grounded.
Yeah.
And I would be at 4.5 easy, because like 3.5, I've watched this movie more than once.
Nice. Yeah.
The actual acting by the Germans is somewhere between okay, passable, and comic book villain.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But it just goes it goes a little too far in some places, and it's kind of gross in some other places.
Yes.
And I was really worried about the dog the first time.
Yeah, me too. I was not.
All right, so let's get into the spoilery section.
All right, spoilers.
I don't even know what to say. There's nothing
know.
happening in this movie.
He gets to the bank. Sorry, guys. He gets there.
It's literally the first 10 minutes of this are just beautiful. It's just like you are in. I mean, it's shot like an artsy western.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where they're just like, look at this expanse. Isn't that it something?
Yeah.
And look at this other thing. And he's
quiet.
like,
yeah. Colorful.
Time passes. You can tell the passage of time by the hard cuts.
Yeah.
They handle the hard cuts pretty well. I like when he finds the gold, the warm light they put on the actor's face.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like awe in a sense, and it's kind of also comic book like.
Well, yeah, it's totally Tarantino. It's the fucking briefcase from Pulp Fiction. It's like the exact same thing. Which,
man, I do not remember Pulp Fiction very well.
Yeah.
I remember that Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
He is.
And Uma Thurman.
Yeah. John Travolta.
And that guy who played Howard Saint in The Punisher.
Yeah. That guy. His best known role.
I think he's fairly famous.
In The Punisher.
So, like, that was all great, and the shot with the planes again flying over him.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Because you get, like, immediately a sense of the character, even though he doesn't say anything for the next hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the quietness, like the panning for gold in the water, and he sees a little fleck, and like that's a big deal to him.
Yeah.
Then when he's digging in the ground and he finds all the gold, and like he collapses in shock, and you've had these moments where you're just watching him sit there, you're watching him clean his filthy body, and he's got scars everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting actually a really good sense of who this person's supposed to be with
Oh yeah.
nothing.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, just
So
where he looks and where he lives. That's
I thought chapter 1 fantastic.
great.
I think there are 8 or 9 chapters or something. And every one is more than the last.
Yeah.
So anyway, he starts back towards the bank because he's found all this gold. He happens across some Germans. I'll take a moment here just to point out the equipment malfunctions in this.
Okay.
If you're a history buff, this movie should bother you, because what they're driving around is clearly a T-54 or a T-55.
Okay.
You don't know this.
No.
Okay, so a T-54 or T-55, sometimes just called T-54-55, is a Soviet tank design from 1954.
Okay. Yeah, that seems
looks-
like a problem.
Well, I mean, they just need a tank.
Yeah.
They're just making a tank. They're making a tank movie. It's got a DSHK on the top, which is sometimes just called a Dushka, which is a 12.7 millimeter gun, which is basically 50 caliber.
Nice.
Germans usually don't have a mounted machine gun on the top of tanks. They would have been driving around in a Panzer IV, or maybe a Panzer VI, or a Tiger, or whatever. And like they might have a top mounted gun. That would have been like a Fliegerbeschutzgerät with like a Maschinengewehr .34 or MG34 mounted on top for anti-aircraft purposes.
Cool.
That is not what they're shooting in this.
Great. So you're
So,
saying
like,
they stole a Soviet tank from the future, it sounds like.
So what I'm saying is what they were trying to do was they could requisition people who had the Stahlhelm, the standard German steel helm, from World War I all the way through World War II, and actually kind of a little bit beyond then. Like, they could get uniforms, things for people to wear that looked evil.
Yes.
And then everything else is just like a stand-in. Understand, when they're driving the tank around, they're just driving around a tank.
Right.
And when they have, when they're shooting a gun, they're just shooting a gun. They're not necessarily shooting period-specific guns, though you did see some MP34s or whatnot in this. Those are period-specific. The C-47 at the end is actually also period-specific. It was kind of strange that they said it was an old plane.
Yeah.
Because C-47 entered service at the beginning of World War II, like 1941, 1942 maybe. I don't know. But like, and it wasn't a bomber, it was a troop transport. But the point is, everything in this is just a stand-in. You're just supposed to watch it as a movie. It's just a stupid action movie. Dude wants to get to bank. It's World War II-ish. And let's have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Chapter 2 is, I think, the minefield?
Sounds right, yeah.
Still having fun with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the minefield scene.
Throwing a mine at a person and having it hit somebody's head.
Fucking hilarious.
It's kind of hilariously awful. Everything that happened, like, there is so much gore in this.
Yes. Yeah. That was the thing that I thought, I don't know, it did make me think a little bit, because you and I feel like we're definitely big on action films and less enthusiastic about excessive use of gore.
That's true, because like this, we did talk about this in regards to like Expendables 2.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think I think you're right. Like, violence is supposed to be sexy is one of the rules. I remember that now.
Yeah.
So this is walking right up to that line and maybe dipping its toes over it.
Yeah. So yeah.
No, go on. I don't want.
Well, that's what I found kind of interesting about the movie, because I was thinking about, all right, Expendables 2, absurdly gory and grotesque, and then I was thinking about the fucking latest Rambo movie, which is the same deal, and
also a little.
Yeah, and
I mean, I don't know if you can be a little too rapey. I think it's too rapey.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But yeah, I mean, just off-putting. Like a level of violence that just isn't really fun anymore. But I feel like this movie kind of challenged that for me, because as gory as it was, and as like at times just cartoonishly gory as it was, I was less turned off by it. And I think it's for the very simple reason that this is actually a pretty decent movie. And Rambo just sucks, and Expendables 2 sucks. Like, the plots suck, and the fucking movies are terrible. But because this movie is kind of compelling, I feel like, yeah, I feel like I don't know. I found the goriness less offensive than I did in those two shittier films.
You do have to give it also that most of the goriest stuff does happen in this section, right? So it happens in the minefield.
Yeah.
And it's the guy who gets hit in the head with the mine. But the guy who gets hit in the head with the mine is a person one moment and just viscera the next.
Yeah.
And then, like, the other two people who run down the side...
Yeah.
One of them is a puff of smoke and some gore, and the other one's a puff of smoke and some gore, and then they show a leg flying through the air. So it's like it's conceptually gratuitous, but it's not actually like the most gratuitous, like, just grody, awful nonsense is stuff that Tommy, I think, is doing to himself. Like when he has to prop himself up while he's being hung.
What the fuck? Yeah.
You look at that and you're just like,
yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That looks so painful.
Yeah.
Because it's slow.
Yes, it's very slow and very deliberate. Yeah.
But like the other gore that's happening, the guy who gets stabbed through the head isn't really like first of all, that's sort of novel, and it's also strangely clean in the way that it's presented.
Yeah.
Cuz there's not like tons of blood spurting around, his eyes are moving like, holy shit, I just got stabbed in the head, and then he's dead.
Yeah. And
like, sure, the knife is later shown to be really, really gory, but it's not like, there's nothing in that moment that's gratuitously... Like, that guy actually probably doesn't feel a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it's sudden. It's not long-lasted. Most of the other stuff, like, honestly, seeing the horse blown apart was almost
sad.
worse.
That was really sad, yeah. I didn't like that.
Well, the prop they made for it, if not anatomically correct, was at least evocative.
Very true. Very true.
And that one that you stayed with it longer. And
yeah.
also to set it aside from that Expendables thing, I think as we're talking about it, like Expendables, we had our protagonist, the person that we're supposed to be identifying and rooting for, being sadistic.
Yeah.
And in this case, you have our main character who actually doesn't kill every person he possibly can.
No.
He's just trying to get to the bank.
Yeah.
Like the worst one for me was, so they go, he falls asleep by the cart. Next day he notices that he shouldn't have fallen asleep by the cart because the Germans are still after him. He crawls under the thing, douses himself in gas, I shouldn't say thing. Truck. He crawls under a truck, starts being dragged by the truck, stabs the petrol.
Yeah.
And he gets covered in it, and he runs into a river.
Yes.
And when he's slitting people's throat and taking their air as it bleeds out of their body, like that was pretty gross.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not sure about the mechanics of it, but yeah, that was
But I mean, like, I have a hard time because, like, so every chapter is an escalation in this.
Yeah.
And I think about the fourth chapter, they actually have what this movie would call an exposition dump.
Yes.
Which is to say, it explains its title.
Hey, he's a badass. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
He's killed 300 Russians in the Winter War. He had a nickname, and you can't kill him. He's immortal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that kind of, to the movie's credit, that kind of draws a line where kind of almost everything that happens up to that point is relatively believable.
Yeah.
And everything that happens after that is still ever increasingly more unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it matches the theme, and the theme in this case is just the title. And like that's kind of fun just because he is like this unstoppable force. He can't be reasoned with. You can't even talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like, I just want to go to the bank. He's not even going to tell you he wants to go to the bank. He's just like, I'm going to look at you in a way that makes you understand. Please get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Like it skates a line because I'm sympathetic to the, I don't know, maybe small amount of disappointment that viewers might experience when the movie gets into much more like outlandish territory. But like, I mean, at the same time, it's totally fitting within the context of the film. And there's like, I think like the film is clearly like self-aware about how ridiculous certainly some of these action sequences are. There's a tongue-in-cheek nature to it. And so, yeah, when you're watching him suck oxygen out of the slit throat of a Nazi underwater, like, it's kind of hard not to laugh a little bit because it's just so fucking ridiculous. And it's so over the top violent.
They don't really, to be fair, also, they don't really dwell on it, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You see him slit the throat, then he goes in, and then everything else from there is from above ground, and it's just like, well, That seems gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second guy that it happens to, they don't show anything. They just show the guy on the boat being
Get the
like,
bubbles, like.
ugh. Yeah, first the bubbles
Yeah.
and then the red bubbles.
God, yeah, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like when you're watching a really good, kung fu movie or something, and then like you start to see the wire work involved, and it's like, God damn it, I just want to watch a real, like, I want to watch a real fight scene.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, but I mean, but it is fun, and I mean, as disgusting as that is, it's fucking creative as hell from a filmmaking perspective, from just like an action movie perspective. I've never seen that before. It's
Well, I mean that all. Yeah, the novelty is definitely off the charts on this one. I've never seen somebody do something creative with a minefield.
yeah, yeah,
I've never seen somebody ford a river with, somewhere between 50 and 150 pounds of gold
Yeah.
on his shoulder while killing National Socialists. There's a lot. I've never seen somebody hung and prop himself
Jesus
up.
Christ.
That is such I love when the Stuka lands, right?
Yeah,
And that was
yes.
actually a period correct plane.
Nice.
It probably would have been phased out by that point, but at least it was a World War II German plane.
Nice.
So like, I love that whole thing. He's at the petrol station. The plane flies over and lands. The wind helps to knock him off of the post where he's been hung or hanged.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, hanged.
Hanged.
I hate it when. I mean, you can go into. Here we go. Star Trek Picard.
Oh, all right.
Here we go. He says, and this is supposed to be Jean-Luc Picard, who's supposed to be a halfway intelligent individual. He says his mother hung herself. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, Jean-Luc. No. She hanged herself. Anyway, that's
She hung, I guess, but
No, she hanged. Garments are hung. Humans are the other one. Anyway, the see, we managed to do it though.
yay.
But that whole scene where he deals with the two pilots is great, and that's like the one gratuitous kill that I think is in the movie, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily have to kill the Stuka pilot.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
He's kind of doing it to make a point, and that's kind of where you're getting more and more into the fantasy element of it. But like, it's fun to have that guy around because he's tied to the post, and you're watching. Like, I ordinarily find field surgery to be like, if I watch Black Hawk Down, I am not watching the field surgery.
Sure, yeah.
But in this one, when you see him stitching himself back together and using like tin snips and wire to put his side into one piece and dousing himself in kerosene to make sure it's not going to get infected. You wouldn't want to get an infection.
Nope.
That's being shot, blown up, hung, hanged.
Yeah.
That hasn't killed you, but darn it, tetanus will.
Yeah,
Tetanus
man.
will get you every time.
The silent killer, bro.
But that kind of works in because I think they kind of, if I recall correctly, they kind of overlay that with the exposition dump.
Oh
that,
God,
like,
yeah. I think
this
yeah.
guy is unkillable.
Yeah, yeah.
And just in terms of if you have a movie that doesn't have a lot of beats, by the way, I hope that whoever wrote this wasn't paid by the page.
God, yeah, the script for this would be fascinating to see.
It's like 12
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
Like usually it's like a page per minute.
Yeah.
And this is a page for every 10 minutes.
Man. It might be shorter than fucking Mad Max Fury Road. So I think it might actually manage to be shorter page length.
I guess you could have a lot of blocking. It depends on how much of that you write in.
Yeah. Jesus.
But then at the same time, you could write most of the German lines as says miscellaneously evil things.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Do you remember any of the music in this?
No, God, dude, it's been quite a while now.
I don't remember any of the music either.
I don't remember anything standing out. I was gonna say the movie gets 4 stars from me contextually because it's how long? I mean, is it 90 minutes?
It's about.
And I mean, it's straightforward. It doesn't waste any time at all, and it is among a fucking plethora of films that cannot clock in under 2 hours. Often can't get under 2.5 hours. And I just really appreciate this movie being a length of a fucking, regular ass action movie.
They actually managed to put a lot of action into that without feeling exhausting.
Yeah.
Which is something considering the lack of dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have just enough, like you have everything that you really need in order to enjoy the film and in order for the film to tell its story such that it is. And I just, I don't know. I appreciate how lean it is. It's something that I feel like a lot of modern filmmaking has forgotten how to do.
It's an hour and 31 minutes.
That's perfect, man. That's the perfect length of time, especially for this kind of film.
I mean, you can go up. You can probably go up an extra 15, 20 minutes, and that's pretty safe.
Sure, it's fair, but
you would expect there to be more than 6 lines of dialogue in the whole thing.
Sure.
This guy probably got paid better. Well, not paid better per line, but he got paid for fewer lines than even Kurt Russell did in, what was that, The Soldier?
Oh yeah, I think that was Soldier. I think it was just called Soldier.
So, okay. I think he had like 3 or 4 lines in that entire
Said, I'm
movie.
gonna kill them all. That's what I remember, but...
Could you write me like a Clint Eastwood Western, but with fewer lines?
Yeah.
So plane crashes. We get the exposition dump. He rescues all the women who are in the wagon, we'll just say. And basically they kill everyone.
Yeah.
Because that section is actually called Kill 'Em All.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they don't kill them all. Because actually, our main character has an opportunity to kill the sniper who's actually already shot him.
Yeah.
In the leg, but that didn't hurt that much.
Yeah, whatever.
Plus, it gave him a convenient hole to put rebar in.
Jesus Christ.
So anyway,
It's ridiculous.
The more we talk about this, the more I like this film. I might go up to 4 stars.
It's just absurd.
It's perfect. But like, so he does, Metal Gear Solid through it and gives all the guns to the ladies who've been held captive for enjoyment purposes,
Yes.
they gun down all of their captors, and
Yeah.
it's great. There's a fight on the top of a tank. Best fight on the top of a tank I've seen since Indiana Jones
Hell yeah.
and The Last Crusade.
It was hard not to think of Indiana Jones. I mean, even with the truck sequence, like getting into the back of the truck and all of that stuff, I was like, God damn, this feels like Indiana Jones. But yeah.
Well, it also has the two guys who are in the
Oh,
motorbike.
yeah, the motorbike. Yeah, yes.
And they're like,
Another indie thing. Yeah.
was that Hans?
A lot of references in this film, I guess.
And so like that whole section was put together well. Do the chapter breaks help break up the action, even though, like, if you were to take out the chapter breaks, it's all action?
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a cute. I think it's just a cute device. That is also very Tarantino influenced, which this film is. But I mean, at the same time, like, Tarantino's so influenced by like 70s grindhouse film that like you could just say that practically. This movie could have been made in the 70s pretty much by some no-name director, and it probably would never have had a theatrical. Well, it would have had a theatrical release in like Manhattan and Los Angeles, maybe,
and LA,
and that's it. Yeah.
Maybe Chicago for
maybe
one weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I feel like the over the topness, like maybe it's just the grindhouse thing plus at least some decent modern production.
Yeah.
I would say that the special effects in this, limited as they are,
yes,
are not like wildly believable. They're you get the point, and they don't look bad.
Yeah. They certainly evoke what they're attempting to evoke, I would say.
But that's about as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so, like, to the whole point of does the plot, does it violate any of the rules again? He doesn't kill the sniper.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that, even though it's corny and it's just stupid. When the motorbike guys, who've already been kind of a joke, drive up and they stop and they see him and he just levels the pickaxe at them.
Yeah.
They just get out of the stupid thing and run away.
Fuck yeah. I like that too.
And then he takes that motorbike and leaves the guy there.
Yeah.
For the women. Apparently not kill.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean that was fun, and then the last chapter after that is just insane.
Yeah.
We end up in a C-47 with a bomb.
Yep.
And he manages to hook his pickaxe onto the bottom of the plane. He slips back to the rear landing gear, then claws his way through the undercarriage of the plane.
Yes. It's sheer
Huge
force of
fist.
will. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I feel like this is the point of the movie where, unless you're willing to say whatever,
yes,
it's going to be deeply insulting to your intelligence.
Yes.
Fight in the plane. I don't think it was good. I don't think it was particularly bad. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Passable. For whatever reason, he gets tied. Like, holy shit, that guy just gets the shit beat out of him too.
Yes, yeah.
But he hooks the tank commander, to the bomb, and it drops out the bottom.
Yep, yeah, you get a nice Doctor Strangelove moment, and yeah.
And in totally gratuitous fashion, the fuck you as the guy's falling.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean it's a straight up cartoon at this point, but
like the weird thing is like, so the pilot dies because he was shot
yes,
earlier.
Yeah.
As soon as the pilot dies, the plane dies.
Yes, it does. They are connected.
And when the plane dies, it starts to go down, and because it goes down, it catches on fire.
Yeah, why wouldn't it? Yeah.
I mean, is that a real why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I can think of some reasons.
Every car crash in real life ends in a giant explosion. So yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I saw a fender bender the other day, and you wouldn't believe the crater it left.
Devastating, I'm sure.
It took the 3 cars out behind it.
Yeah, totally. It's great. There are no injury claims. It's just
it's just death. Yeah. $5,000.
Pretty easy.
Personal injury protection. Just write the check.
Yep.
So DBZ to the end, man. DBZ to the end. He shows up at the bank. He's like, bills, big ones.
Yep.
They won't be so damned heavy to carry.
Yeah. All right, so it's pretty realistic. He acknowledged it was heavy.
Just erases all of my complaints about this movie.
Yep.
Perfect. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 5.
Fuck yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what else there is to say about this movie.
I don't know. Yeah, the review's almost as long as the fucking film is. But yeah, what do you think chances for a sequel are?
I don't think that everything in the world needs a sequel.
I know it's wildly unnecessary, but the movie, you know, I feel like it's done pretty well here. I'm assuming and I feel like if you do well in America, especially if you're a foreign film, there's probably going to be a sequel. But
so yeah, I don't know. I was interested in this because someone posited that this was one of the heralds of the rebirth of the action movie. Because,
this one, okay.
This one, and then actually Sound of Freedom, which I don't think is properly defined as an action film, because there's not that much action in it. I would call it kind of a thriller-ish, very fictionalized biopic.
Okay.
I mean, we all know that based on a true story is like the loosely is always like everything that happens in that is to some degree true, but to some degree is kind of a problematic statement in itself, and the relationship between the scenes isn't necessarily as much of a through line as depicted in the movie, but it makes for a good movie. It has a good message, and hopefully it'll help a lot of people if people start actually caring about that. But that was also classified as an action film, and it's made $150 million on a $15 million budget. Now, you don't have to be a particularly good, like, mathemagician to be like, well, we spent $15 million and we got back $150 million. I will do that every day. Every day. And I think in a large part, like, that this movie does well is probably a good sign, like, that maybe people are just tired of stupid movies lecturing to us about stupid things that don't matter. And maybe we can get into, I would say, like, the golden age of action is probably the 80s and early 90s.
For sure.
Maybe we can resurrect a silver age. Like, you got to look at things like John Wick that has done consistently well. I don't think the car movie is particularly a straight up action movie, but there's definitely action elements to it. And, like, for something this small to do so well, maybe somebody notices and decides that they would like to make some money.
Yeah. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to, I guess. I think the interesting thing about this film is how much American attention has been captured. And I'm not going to say it's a lot, you know. It's not Barbie levels of fucking audience is captured, but that it's done pretty well here, that we're aware of it and that people seem to know about it is certainly fucking awesome. But as far as, like, I certainly don't think it's a herald. I think if anything it's the unbelievable fucking popularity of the John Wick films. But you don't see, I think what's irritating about it is I don't see a lot of, like, people capitalizing on that as much. So, you know, it'd be nice to see more of that, but I mean, like, I'm thinking about movies like Peppermint, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that was a good movie. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like a fucking huge blockbuster deal. It's not a movie that anyone really cares about, but that's another solid action movie that I would put right alongside John Wick 1 and this film. As far as being, like, you know, just straight to the point, consistent, solid, good time action films. But yeah, I don't know about, like, a rebirth or a new renaissance or anything like that. I'm not holding my breath, that's for sure, on any of that. I do think the closest you're going to get, it's going to be the same as John Wick. We're going to get Sisu 2. And it's going to be more ridiculous than Sisu 1, probably.
Oh, man, like, if anybody's listening, I'm not sure I'm into that, but
yeah,
like,
I know. I'm not really either, but yeah.
I guess this film actually only made $7 million in theaters in the United States. My guess is that is considerably more than its budget already.
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
but
most likely.
Like, I bought this on Amazon because I was like, I don't actually think it was in the theater near me.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
I mean, how many people are out there who spent, you know, $15 to buy it, $20 to buy it? I don't remember what it was. That's some of that money's still going back to the people who made the actual movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's going to show up on somebody's bottom line, and, you know, you can hope, like, that a movie like this can get any traction at all.
Yes.
Is something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is. So, yeah, I would. Yeah, I would like to see more of this. I don't know. Movies are in a weird, fucking fucked up state, but
yeah, they are. I think. See, the weird thing is, I said to you before we started recording this, is I was listening to one of our old episodes to figure out if we could, if I remembered how to make this format.
Yeah.
But, like, one of the things we kind of, like, hand waved and lamented was that the mouse owns everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have a feeling that the mouse is not going to own everything in 3 years.
I don't know.
They've got a big bill coming at the end of the year to buy the rest of Hulu. and they haven't been making money.
Mm.
So, I mean, like, maybe they find a way to write an $8 billion check. But we'll see. At the very least, the impetus to make money should point people towards, well, you know, like some of the things that we've been seeing in theaters for the last 5, 10, 15 years maybe don't do as well. Maybe it's time to change the game. And maybe action movies is the way to go, because God damn it, who wouldn't love to see some big sexy violence on the screen?
Well, I love it. I mean, shit, I love it. And yeah, I try to see everything in the theater, because that is the ideal environment, in my opinion, for watching a movie. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird how it works now. Everything that comes out in a theater is fucking on Amazon or Netflix like 2 weeks later. So I don't know. I don't understand how it works anymore. But
not everything, but a lot of stuff. I think. I mean, it's interesting because I think in a lot of cases, the people who thought I'm going to build my own empire didn't realize, oh wait, I was making money selling this to other people. Right? Why do I need to build an infrastructure for a streaming service if I can rent this out?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll give me, $1 billion so you can have this on your streaming platform for the next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, just you got it the second the check arrives, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, I need to build the infrastructure to be able to do this.
Yeah.
I need to build the consumer base. I need them to all sign up. I need them to continue to pay. I apparently need to continue to show cricket in India in order to make money.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't know. The market is weird for it, right? Because it's like before, you're like, why the fuck does the fucking cable company own everything? And why is that the only option I have? And now there's just a plethora of fucking streaming services. And now it's like, well, this is too much shit. Like, I don't want one thing, but I also don't want 100 things.
Well, it was weird because it was Amazon, which was, I mean, Amazon is distant second tier at this point, and Netflix.
Yeah.
And then there were like a couple of other things. Like Sony had that one that had commercials on it, but you could watch it for free.
Yeah.
And so there weren't that many players, and everybody looked at what Netflix was doing and like, oh, we can do what Netflix is doing. And then 10 people were like, let's do what Netflix is doing. And that doesn't work.
Nope.
That doesn't work.
It's not. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, I got out of it. All I watch anymore is the great courses in YouTube.
Oh God, YouTube.
Well, Rumble as well.
Nice.
We should get on the Rumble. That's the next great place for the multimedia empire to conquer.
Oh, is it Rumble? I don't even know what that is. Is that not YouTube?
It's not YouTube. It's the next YouTube.
Great. Next YouTube. Another fucking video streaming. Great. Awesome. Cool. Whatever.
They should have called it NextTube. All right, Midget Radio, do you have anything else for us in this episode?
I do not.
Okay. I'm going to try to read the outro.
Good luck.
That has been all for episode number 95 of the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. Please give us a like if you've enjoyed this video, or subscribe to our channel because we do totally make tons of content. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you again on episode 96. We're getting to 100. I don't care what we have to do.
I believe it too.
Ah, damn it. We have to start over. I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
It's the end of the show. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.